Okay, good evening everyone. Can you hear me at the back? Today will be the first and the introductory lecture to the course on machine learning. The course code is ES654. I am Nipun Batra and we have the teaching staff here. If you can please stand up. We have Varun, Abhinav, Shreyas, Indradeep, Pankaj and Super there. So you can meet them whenever you find an appropriate time. In the lecture today, we're going to first discuss about some of the applications of machine learning. We'll motivate machine learning, following which we'll look at the logistics of the course and we'll look at a detailed FAQ about the course, what is the course policy. Following which, if time permits, we'll start off with some content today. So, machine learning has pervaded our smartphones also now. So we've seen that Apple Siri tells you things like, if you're trying to figure out which movie is playing near me. So you can understand that there is some component which takes in your speech, converts that to text, takes that text, searches online, figures out the relevant results, which is ranking the relevant results, returning them in a format, and then presenting you in a very easy to use and a convenient format. There is similarly Google now, which has these cards, which tells you, recommends basically what is the kind of content that you would be interested in. And there is Windows Cortana also. So this is a snapshot from my phone last year. This is a snapshot a few days before I came here for the first time here. It picks up, it shows us a lot of interesting things. For example, it shows me that there is a flight to Ahmedabad from Delhi to Ahmedabad. So it's basically telling you about a system which can look at certain email, parse information, and present that information in a very easy to use manner, which you can easily add to your calendar-like services. The second thing is Siri app suggestions. So Siri is now telling me which is the app I'm most likely to use next. So this is one specific part of machine learning called recommender systems. How many of us have been to grocery stores to buy something very, very trivial, let's say a toothbrush or a toothpaste? I guess all of us. How many of us have been in a situation where we just wanted to buy one thing, only toothpaste, toothbrush, but the person in front of us wanted to buy an entire house? They wanted to buy 30, 40, 50 items. How was that experience? Very frustrating. So I never liked that experience. Anyone been to stores where you have a solution for this kind of a problem? Self-checkout counter or an express counter. So these are typically counters where people having less than 6 items or so can directly go there. People having more items go there. But then machine learning also has a solution to this, and Amazon came up with something very cool. Let's have a quick look.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of the store, so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put it on your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We use computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like we find in self-driving cars. We call it just walk out technology. Once you got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual card and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
So Amazon started with this concept in stores in Seattle. Uh, does everyone like the concept? Can anyone see any downsides to this? So this course, we want to focus not only on machine learning being the cool person or the cool technology which everyone is speaking about. We also want to have a very holistic opinion or view of it. Can anyone tell me why could this technology be bad? Yes.
So it's actually taking all of your data, what you're doing.
Okay. So what is the downside of having your data divided? So why would you worry if they know if you like tomatoes or specific brand of wafers? Or...
They can actually bias my opinion, right?
Yes. So that's a very important point. All of the data that is being collected, if not used responsibly, and if leaked out to potential advertisers, it can really create a havoc. Any other disadvantage you see of such a system? So think about, whenever we talk about machine learning, think about the various stakeholders. Who benefits from such an approach? Of course, Amazon will benefit, hopefully, for them. That is why they're rolling out. They are projecting it as the consumers will likely benefit. They won't have to stop longer. Who is having a loss? Workers. Specifically, let's say people who don't know how to write TensorFlow queries, right? They are ordinary people who have been working there for years and managing the checkout stores. They are suddenly out of jobs because they don't have the required skill sets. Okay, what about this technology being implemented in India? Can you envision scenarios in which smart people will be able to beat the system? Any ideas how you beat the system?
Will there be any kind of security inside with people watching?
Yeah. So Anubhav gives an example of people can watch or can jump certain areas. So if I'm to generalize this idea, he's basically saying that the technology will have some blind spots. For example, now you have some cameras, right? Cameras are watching. Imagine if someone obstructs the view of the camera and takes something out and just leaves, as they say Amazon goes, so just go. So you can of course fool the system. They'll probably not have just the camera or vision-based technology. What other sensors do you think they will be using? So how would they know that computer vision might get a little flaky or might be a little dodgy at points where you have two very similar kinds of items? How do you think what other attribute of the particular item could be used? Ultrasonic for distance? Okay, ultrasonic you could use for distance. What about the weight? Sorry? Nodes? Load. Load cell is basically telling about the weight. How much weight has been reduced or how much weight has been added. What happens if you pick one item from one particular place and put it at the other? Which all of us at stores. So I just wanted to show that while the technology is very cool, it is talking about the technology being the same technology being used in self-driving cars, very cool stuff like deep learning, computer vision, sensor fusion. But we need to again have a holistic view, try to understand the various aspects of it and understand the system as a whole, understanding the bias, understanding the human element to the machine learning system also. Another reason why we are studying all these applications is to give you ideas for the projects, which we will soon discuss that as a very significant component of the course. Let's look at something different now.
There's been poverty around the world. That's 1 billion people living on less than $2 a day. Poverty reduction is one goal that almost everyone could agree on. Last year's United Nations Sustainable Development Goals set 169 separate development targets to be met by the year 2030, with poverty reduction as a principal goal. but how do we actually track progress towards these goals? Right now, our ambitions exceed our capabilities. Most countries don't collect much data, and scaling up traditional household survey-based data collection efforts will be expensive. What if less conventional data sources could help shed light on these development outcomes? That's what our project does. We combine high-resolution satellite imagery with powerful machine learning algorithms to predict how rich or poor specific locations around the world are. But standard machine learning approaches to interpreting imagery work best when they have lots of data. Think millions of labeled images. Unfortunately, there are few places in the world where we can tell the computer with certainty whether the people living there are rich or poor. Our solution is to combine high-resolution daytime imagery with images of the Earth at night. Places that are brighter at night are usually more developed. We use this night-like data to help us find features in the higher resolution daytime imagery that are correlated with economic development. Without being told what to look for, our machine learning algorithm learns to pick out many things that are easily recognizable, such as roads, urban areas, waterways, and farmland. These features summarize the huge amount of information in each satellite image. The final step is to use these features to predict village-level wealth as measured in surveys. We do this in 5 African countries: Uganda, Tanzania, Nigeria, Malawi, and Rwanda. We find that our method does a good job predicting the distribution of poverty. In fact, a better job than any existing approach that we know of. Since it's cheap and scalable, requiring only satellite images, it could be used to map poverty around the world, helping aid organizations to distribute funds more efficiently and policymakers to enact and evaluate policies more effectively.
Okay, so again, a cool application of machine learning. Who's going to tell me about the downside of this technology, or some potential flaws that you can immediately notice? Anyone here work with satellite data? Okay, so are you saying something?
It's not almost like how poor
Okay. Okay. So I believe they try to show something like this, where they do some quantitative surveys, and at a village level they try to estimate, they do some surveys, figure out what is the net wealth, and then they look at some satellite imagery which shows them some pixels. They try to learn some function between them. But what could go wrong?
We have no guarantee that like that thing actually exists, because we have cases where North Korea, like towards the border areas, where they create artificial cities,
Right.
which they project to be very healthy. But in actual case, North Korea is not the poorest country in the world.
Right.
So this cannot have a one-to-one correlation always.
Yeah, so that's an excellent point. There are some ghost cities, there are some specific cities which can fool the system. What are the other things which can fool the system, which can fool a satellite-based system? Clouds can definitely fool. So if you have clouds, the satellites are not able to see. Let's look at some other application now. So this is not me, but this is the kind of person I was when I was young. You know, so this person likes to call. I never like to call my relatives, etc., and tell them, wish them birthdays, etc. So Google again came up with something which would help people like this. Let's see what.
On Tuesday, what happens is the Google all seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule an appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like, what service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Have I understand? Okay, what's your first name? The first name is Lisa? Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation.
Okay, and again a very impressive example, and the audience just went crazy when the automated voices are trying to mimic the human voice. What could be the downside of such a technology? So again, think of the people it is replacing. What happens to them? Do people again go out of jobs? So the people who work in things like call centers, do they get out of job? So could this very well automate, call center which for a technology company, which is trying to help you for your technology products? They have a very big database of how do you use a product. Could you just read through that database and answer the queries that humans are proposing? Could you do that? People will be out of jobs. In some sense, it's helping to scale, but on the other hand, it's also being a problem where people again which were not skilled will get out of jobs. What else could be a problem?
Also fake certain people.
It can fake certain people, and why is that bad?
It can impersonate and
so you can now be very well impersonated, right? You can have a conversation with someone, but you actually never had a conversation. So another thing which I was thinking was, I very regularly get calls from my various cell operators telling me about different schemes which I have. So now they have a human behind the desk who's calling. Imagine now they have a machine behind the desk. How many calls can they get? So people can again use the technology in whichever way they want to use. Let's look at a very different example now.
Honey,
So, whoa. How do you use that much energy last time?
Hello,
who are you?
I'm Midgley, your personal energy advisor. The utility company sent me. How did you get in here? You downloaded my app. Alright. Well, let's see how your energy consumption compared with the neighbors. Thanks.
What do you mean inefficient? We just bought this new refrigerator.
Take it easy, we'll figure this out. Let's see, looks like your base load is pretty high. You probably have some big offenders that are pulling power 24/7. Here's a couple of these.
I thought that you were getting rid of that Xbox.
No, I'm with her. You get rid of this man cave machine, you could reduce your base load by 10%.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. Oh, wow. Looks like you guys had a pretty wild weekend, huh?
Wait, here?
Yeah.
No, we were at that.
Well, looks like your AC didn't get the memo. You forgot to turn it off before you left, guys?
Sounds about right.
Well, that made a pretty big thing. It's all good. In the future, I'll send you texts whenever I see a spike like that. Oh, I'll even go you one better. With this guy, you can control your thermostat from anywhere.
Good, sir, this is awesome.
Save your praise, my friends. Just getting warm now.
John, forgot to turn the space heater in your office off. Come on, John. We're back in the night.
Let's see how you're doing now.
Thanks, Midgley. We couldn't have done without you.
I'm just here to help. And it's only going to be more important that your energy needs change with time. You know about electric car even one thing?
Okay, again a very cool technology. How do you think this could have worked? How can they tell how much energy each appliance is consuming? I know a little bit about it because I did my PhD research on something similar. So any thoughts? How they could figure out how much energy each appliance is consuming in near real time? Sensors everywhere, yes. You could install a sensor everywhere, but then it becomes a sensor deployment problem and not a machine learning problem. So the idea is, again, machine learning, you're trying to scale things. As you would have seen in previous examples also, you're trying to scale the human level conversation, you're trying to scale the prediction of poverty without having to do surveys. With surveys, it's not scalable. You're also trying to scale, what are the other examples that we see? You're trying to scale recommendations instead of having a friend, who goes through your entire feed and says, you should take this course or you should watch this movie. Now you have Netflix doing the job for you. Similarly, in the previous example, you were trying to scale giving personalized therapy recommendations. Again, the idea there is to just use minimal amount of sensors and to still be able to predict. So again, the fundamental aspect will still have to come from the domain, and the domain tells us that each appliance will have its own unique signature. For those of you who have some electrical background understanding, you would already know that a refrigerator will behave very differently compared to, say, a motor versus something like a air conditioner would be a compressor-based appliance. So the compressor will turn on and off. So this is again being used to predict how much each appliance is consuming using a minimal amount of sensor. Again, where could this technology be harmful? So one aspect was definitely that the Bijli guy was always behind you. So he wanted to tell you everything, even when you didn't want to hear feedback. Where else could you be seeing any harmful effect of such a technology? Could this technology tell about your entire behavior? When do you come home? When do you leave for home? When do you go to the washroom? When do you watch TV, etc.? So there are also variants of this technology which can even predict what is going on in your screen just by tapping the electrical lines. So that is the extent to which you can go. I'll not go into the self-driving car because I think that's one of the more common examples. But I'll just show it for the first 10-15 seconds. That this is how it looks. It looks very odd in the sense that there is no one sitting in the front seat. But imagine if the self-driving car sees this. It sees a bicycle poster printed on the behind of a car. Is this a bike? This is a car. What does it do? Does it just crash into it? Does it see that I can just maneuver and miss the cycles and still overtake from where or where? Anyone experience something similar to this while driving a car or a vehicle? Not in a computer vision perspective, but as a human.
Some cat.
Sorry?
Some cat or some.
Mm-hmm. You then?
They still type of the cars.
Okay, so then does it distract you? Do you consider that to be a cat? No, right? So I'm asking the question is that have you as a human being have been fooled in similar kind of situations like this? Yes.
One light of the car is
Yes.
not working.
Yes, excellent. So when you see that, especially in foggy conditions, if anyone of you have driven in North India in foggy conditions, when one light of the car is not working, there have been many accidents because you assume it to be a scooter. You just try to maneuver past that. I was recently fooled when the Yogi bus was coming and it had many lights. So I thought it was maybe two cars and there was some space in between. But fortunately, the campus is speed limit. Okay, how can machine learning help farmers?
This area is known as Stewart's Landing, and this is Dancing Crow Farm.
One of the world's problems is yield. How do you double the yield by 2050 to feed the growth of the population of the world? This is a project that we recently started. What we want to do is we want to enable data in the farm. The first goal is to give a real-time view of the farm, real-time thoughts of the farm to the farmer. Hey, this is what your farm is doing like that. So how do you connect these farms to the internet? It's so far remote. The cell carriers have very little incentive to provide connectivity in the farms.
The system that we have deployed here is measuring soil temperature and moisture, and it's coming from this sensor.
Here what we see is a white spaces device. The idea that we had was a farmer buys a white space router, plug it into the farm, and the entire farm is connected. Now you can connect multiple devices, and connectivity is cheap. So you can actually deploy many more sensors in the farm. You can have a dense deployment of sensors getting real-time view of all the parts of the farm. Not only your soil and moisture data, so this is a high bandwidth connection. You can connect cameras, get real-time views from the farm. Once you have all this data, you could then analyze the data to predict what the future will be.
I'm actually really looking forward to how the process will change. This last year is mainly like data gathering, information collecting here for the Microsoft research team. I'm really looking forward to seeing what research they've gathered this year, putting that together with what I think is going to happen next year, and make predictions for what I should plant when and where.
Did anyone understand the machine learning component of this previous video? What are they trying to predict? What is the benefit of the prediction that they're trying to make? Or what is the problem that farmers face? Irrigation? Yeah. So imagine that you have, sometimes the farms can be very huge. The campus is, let's say, 400 acres. Let's say the farm is 1 acre, 2 acre. Do you want to water the farm uniformly? That could be very simple or very naive way to do that. But the different parts of the farm might require different water. That could depend on the soil profile, it could depend upon the shade that that particular area is covered with, that could depend on the type of crop or the type of plants that are growing. So multiple factors are affecting how much water is needed. How much water is needed will also be largely dependent on things like the soil moisture, the moisture in the air, or what season of the year it is, or how far is the sowing season, how far is the harvest season. So the prediction task here is to very accurately very accurately estimate the various facets of how to improve the farm, including water management, including weed management, including when to sow the seeds, etc., using minimal amount of sensors. And this is a very, very cool deployed application where they end up using something known as a white spaces device. Anyone knows what is a white space? It's not machine learning, but just for review of it. So anyone who is old enough and would have seen when you switch across different channels, specifically when you had antennas in the homes, you will see some noise in between the channels. So that is known as a white space. So this is an empty space between two different frequencies. So the TV network has some empty frequencies, and they end up using that particular empty frequencies to transmit it. They didn't have to put any additional infrastructure. Okay, now how do you use machine learning for healthcare?
My aunt has congestive heart disease, and recently she was rushed to the hospital. Luckily, she survived, but chronic diseases don't happen overnight, and problems with them happen cumulatively. So, if our homes actually monitor health, specifically for chronic disease patients, we can avoid many of these hospitalizations. Now, the question is, how do you monitor health at home? Unfortunately, the picture today is not very lovely. If you want to monitor breathing, you need nasal probe or chest band, heartbeat, pulse oximeter, motion for Parkinson's patients. You have to ask them to wear all these sensors on their body, pulse and something on their neck, and sleep. You have to ask them to put all of these electrodes on their head and sleep. What if somebody comes and tells you that we can monitor all of those things in the home without asking the patient to wear any sensor. That's exactly what I do in my group. We invented smart Wi-Fi box that uses the wireless signals around you to monitor your breathing, your heartbeat, your gait, falls, even sleep, and all of that without putting any sensor on the box. Now you might be surprised, but actually, you guys are sitting here, you are in a sea of wireless signals, Wi-Fi, cellular, everything. And every move that you do, you lift your arm like this, it changes the electromagnetic field. And those changes, actually, we analyze them with AI algorithms in our box. And we know you lift your arm, you took a breath, or this is your heartbeat. And without any sensors on your body. Let me show you a video of this. This is the home, and the wireless signals spread in the home. And actually, they reflect off our bodies and come back to our smart life.
So again, could you see that the role which machine learning is playing is again trying to make life simpler. It's again saying that previously when you had a lot of different sensors which need to be put on a person or on a patient, but now you're repurposing the commodity Wi-Fi to be able to do this. What is the intuition of the ML approach, of machine learning approach that we're using here? Any thoughts on that? So what was the intuition behind when you were trying to predict poverty from satellite imagery? How could you do that? What was the underlying intuition? So nightlife, the night light is a very important parameter which tells the amount of development that is going on. Those of you who might have seen from airplanes, if you are lucky to get the window seat, and you can see that. So once you enter or leave the metro city, you can see a very different light pattern compared to say going over the deserts or certain other parts of the country. So the intuition again was central. Machine learning was a tool. You had an intuition, and then you were trying to solve a problem where you were trying to scale. Similarly, here also they have the intuition that you have some Wi-Fi routers access points like we have it, and everyone who is moving across is causing some interference with that. So again, I wanted you to appreciate the fact that machine learning is not just about the algorithms. Specifically, when you're trying to build cool applications, you have to think about the intuition, which often comes from an understanding of the subject matter. Now, most of us use an advanced version of this thing called auto reply, which was a very cool paper by Google in 2016. What do you think would be a problem with such an approach? They are reading your emails, but you have given them the permission to do so. Imagine that you're fine with them reading your emails. Of course, they means a technology, a machine sitting behind. There's actually not a human sitting behind, hopefully. What could be the downsides? What will happen to the poets? So if they're every time they're fed with some suggestions, what will happen to the writing abilities? Will they lose that over time? Right? What will happen to some other reply you could have thought, but since you were already given these three replies, it seems to evade you. So again, it is very likely that there could be a bias which could be introduced in such a system. There have been other machine learning applications. Unfortunately, Leaming doesn't look happy because the AlphaGo engine ended up winning this particular game, which is a very, very complicated traditional game. So this is based on more things like reinforcement learning, which hopefully is how it goes the end of the course. There have also been a lot of papers recently on things like predicting from given an image whether you have pneumonia or not. So you start with an image, you have some machine learning model, and then the output is whether the pneumonia is positive and with what percentage. Any downsides of this? So there is one unifying theme amongst all the examples. The doctors could go out of practice, they could be again biased by the results. Any other insight you could have with such a prediction system?
False positives.
Sorry?
False positives.
false positive. So we'll not get into the definitions for now, but imagine that someone who didn't have pneumonia was predicted, this is what I'm trying to add up for saying, was predicted to have pneumonia, and somehow you were able to access the report. Think of what will happen to you. Even if you didn't have pneumonia, you read it, you might just get pneumonia just by the sheer thought of the disease. So I'll tell you one very interesting thing about such similar studies. So there were people who were looking at such images, and you know what turned out to be the most significant feature telling whether a person had pneumonia or not? It was not in this, it's not shown in this image, but in another image there was a name of a lab which was written over here. And the thing was that particular lab was only prescribed to patients who were supposed to be in some advanced stage of the problem. So something as trivial as that was showing whether a person has pneumonia or not, which is, again, humans might have done better than. There have been some very funky, cool applications. How do you build good selfies? So someone did a very nice post, you should read about that. So those who are concerned about selfies, they should look at, you should cut off your forehead and your face should occupy 1/3 of the image. So this was a system which looked at the ratings of images, I guess, maybe Instagram or one of the other similar social networks, and they figured out that what are the features which make a selfie good, etc. So they were trying to then predict a selfie score for each image. So other things which they mentioned, which are not mentioned here, were like don't have multiple people in, don't have poorly lit photos, etc. Don't have your flash on and looking at the mirror, etc. So it is good in the sense that the machine is able to learn many of these things. This is a tool which has been a saving grace of many of us who write technical papers using LaTeX. Now, this is a system called Detexify or Detexify. You write a symbol, it's then able to tell you whether it's a partial or a game or a whatever tool. So, again, machine learning would look at many such examples of images and it would then be able to learn a function or a mapping between such images and the output symbol of concern. Okay. Many of you would have been just born around this time. This was a very historic moment for those who follow cricket. Anyone knows this particular screenshot? This is 2003, okay, I'll give you a hint. And this does not look like India. And you already know the wicket keeper is Aaron Lakers. Okay? Sorry? No, this is not India. It is Adelaide, India winning the test match. Rahul Dravid scored a double century and scored a 70 odd in the second. Very popular match. What I wanted to show here was, given this image, one of the machine learning applications is to come up with the captions of the image or describing what is in the image. Again, a human being can very trivially say this, but a machine is not trivial often. So sometimes if it is a test cricket, baseball, cricketer, etc. Visual Q&A is again a very interesting take on machine learning. So you pose an image, you pose a question, you pose these two things, and you have a machine learning system. And the machine learning system is supposed to answer the questions from the image. They could also ask in now more weird ways, like what is the color of the person, or in this case, the person is a female. They could ask how tall is he, and the system should be able to figure out intelligently, looking at both the image as well as the sentence, that it should be a she. Now I'm going to talk about something which almost seemed crazy a few years back. There was a very popular machine learning conference called Murex. Now the numbers used to be thousands, 2000s earlier, the number of people attending the conference. The rate at which it is expanding, the numbers might exceed the total population on Earth, the way if we just extrapolate it. So that's just telling you how crazy machine learning has been growing in the previous few years. But machine learning we already discussed some of the downsides. Now let's look at some of the others. In the Uber car, there was a very fatal crash. Does anyone know why the crash happened? So there have been crashes with Uber self-driving cars, there have been crashes with Tesla autopilot. Does anyone know why these crashes happen? Adversarial attacks could be possible, but in these cases, these didn't happen. Like, there was not, by design, there was not an adversary. And for those who don't know, don't worry, this term. Why did these cars end up crashing? Any guesses? You already saw an example where there was some bike, right? So one of the reasons was that when most of the driving was done, or when the machine learning model was created, the pattern of sunlight and the shadows was different compared to when the person was actually driving the car. So the shadow fooled the system. They got confused as to what is the line marking, etc. That was one of the reasons. The other reason, which is I'm going to pose to you, is a very ethical question. So imagine you are sitting in the passenger seat in a self-driving car, and 3 people suddenly jump in front of you. Now the car has 2 options, whether to save you or to kill you, but to save 3 people. What do you think the car will do? There is no one good ethical answer, right? If you look at a global solution, you might want to save 3 people, right? But that's not how generally a human driver might end up doing. They might end up doing something in between. So there are various, again, these ethics, these policies questions, which should not be separated out from machine learning. There was again a crash with the Tesla also. And then people were even asking, should artificial intelligence, quote unquote, machine learning in this case, specific case, should it even be trusted or not? Let's look at another set of problems which has been very apparent in machine learning. So there are a few languages like Turkish which are gender independent. So they don't have a separate set of key phrases or words for the female gender versus the male gender. So in this case, what this example is showing is the first writing sentence in English. He is a babysitter. It translates to Obi, Bebek, Baki, Sisi, or whatever the specific I'm not able to. And once they write this sentence again back in Turkish to try to translate to English, it translates as she is a babysitter. So he is a babysitter translates to she is a babysitter. Why do you think that is happening? That is a huge amount of bias which exists in the data and algorithm, and they just inherently assume that babysitters are she's. So Google faced a lot, and similar companies have faced a lot of flack for this. They have modified this, they have improved over this. But again, just try to understand the scale of the problem or the repercussions of such a solution. And she's a doctor, translated to Obi doctor translated to he's a doctor. You wouldn't want to trust such a system, right? They did end up correcting this later. So again, you should also try to appreciate that it's not a one solution which you're once done with the algorithm and you published a paper, you're the god of machine learning. Many of these systems need to evolve, they need to be criticized, they need to be improved based on the actual users. Now, many of us have used Google Photos-like services. Unfortunately for this particular person, he or she gets tagged as a gorilla. Again, we might in this room end up laughing, but imagine if you were in such a place, or if you were tagged as a non-human being. So I think it's again very important to see that technology again being handled to users should be done again in a very responsible fashion. Okay. Can you tell me where is the bride in this image? How many say right? So 3 options. Right, left, both. How many say right? How many say left? How many say both? Okay. But do you know the right answer as predicted by many of the technology or many of the algorithms? What do you think is the right answer according to them? Why is that? Because they again have an inherent bias towards certain types of brides that they have seen, and their algorithm is only fixated on that. So again, imagine you not being recognized in such situations. So while this might not seem very harmful to you, like imagine now that there is a system which is trying to predict the risk of a person going in the airport. Anyone been to airport and been caught at for random checks? So I've been caught many times for supposedly random checks, whereas I've seen many of the people, maybe of a different color, gender, race, etc., not being held. So again, imagine if a automated system catches you just because you have certain visual features, you have certain color features, you belong to a certain race. It's again a huge problem with such machine learning approaches. Before we see this next video, I want to do a quick exercise with all of you. And this should be a good drawing exercise also for you. So take out your notebooks and draw a shoe for me. You have 45 seconds to draw a shoe. Okay, anyone who's still not drawn the shoe? Okay, let's now see how much we are biased.
A shoe. Okay, did anyone picture this? This? This. We may not even know why, but each of us is biased toward.
Okay, how many chose something like the first one? Or something similar to the first one? Okay, how many males ended up drawing something like the third one? Anyone? Unless anyone has been given an answer. So, okay, how many females ended up drawing something like the last one? Did any female end up drawing something like the first one? And you could still draw because it's more gender neutral. But here we just presented bias which exists. Now, if a system was to be trained or if a system was to be blindly given your class's data, then a shoe means the first one or the second one. It doesn't mean the third one. Now we suppose, we have done a lot of courses, we supposedly very forward thinking. We are very practical, but imagine that if a class of us has this bias, then was the bias present in the global scale, and machines are not free from this.
Now imagine that you're trying to teach a computer to recognize a shoe. You may end up exposing it to your own bias. That's how bias happens in machine learning. But first, what is machine learning? Well, it's used in a lot of technology we use today. Machine learning helps us get from place to place, gives us suggestions, translates stuff, even understands what you say to it. How does it work? With traditional programming, people hand code the solution to a problem, step by step. With machine learning, computers learn the solution by finding patterns in data. So it's easy to think there's no human bias in that. But just because something is based on data doesn't automatically make it neutral. Even with good intentions, it's impossible to separate ourselves from our own human biases. So our human biases become part of the technology we create in many different ways. There's interaction bias, like this recent game, where people were asked to draw shoes for the computer. Most people drew ones like this. So as more people interacted with the game, the computer didn't even recognize these. Latent bias.
For example, if you were training a computer on what a physicist looks like, and you're using pictures of past physicists, your algorithm will end up with a latent bias, skewing towards men. And selection bias. Say you're training a model to recognize faces. Whether you grab images from the internet or your own photo library, are you making sure to select photos that represent everyone? Since some of our most advanced products use machine learning, we've been working to prevent that technology from perpetuating negative human bias. From tackling offensive or clearly misleading information from appearing at the top of your search results page, to adding a feedback tool in the search bar so people can flag hateful or inappropriate autocomplete suggestions.
I hope everyone knows this person. Okay, let's have him speak something for us now.
Tell me things about my full-time employees. Their ability to survive on $8 an hour in New York City. This has been the loss of freedom held by the people of most of us don't get our health care or job. And what you should know is that thanks to the Affordable Care Act, your coverage is better today than it was before. Women get free checkups. You can't get charged more just for being there.
About progress, at least in one of the small confines of the legal community. I think it's real important.
When you give it to make sure you want American businesses have created 14.5 million jobs over 75 straight months.
With developing technology, every technology can be used even.
So before I go on to what they were saying, I wanted to have your understanding or your views on it. Where do you think this could go wrong? The technology where Barack Obama was basically being impersonated. So it took 14 hours of videos, plus I believe a lot of silicon, a lot of GPUs, TPUs, CPUs, whatever. But it was not very difficult to come up with something which can create a total chaos. Imagine the Indian PM being impersonated, right? It could destroy the whole country within minutes, seconds. Especially with the advent of social media, things like WhatsApp, things can go viral in seconds. So this is again to remind us, all of us, that how responsible we have to be when we end up using machine learning. The people or the team behind this particular product was being asked towards the end of the video, and I just paused it. What is, in their opinion, a view about such technology? Are they really thinking of the risk? Or could this technology be, could their work also be of potential benefit? Any thoughts on that? So the previous example was something known as, in machine learning, it's known as adversary in machine learning, where you have an adversary, or think of it in some sense as someone who's trying to fool you. Now, previously till now, adversaries were not that sophisticated or not known. What the previous team in the video was trying to show was, if we know our attackers better, we can defend better. So that's one argument given behind creating such technologies, that if not we, as responsible researchers, someone else might create such technology. So it's important that we do them, and we try and identify the ways in which we can defend. Here is another example. Now, this particular image is being classified with a fairly high degree of confidence to be a panda, whichever way you wish to pronounce. You added this very small amount of noise, which the human cannot interpret at all. Now, does this image look like a human to you? No, right? Imagine such technologies capable of creating such adversaries or creating such noises, systematic noises, which can completely change the prediction. Imagine if you are driving in a self-driving car, and what you see is a stop sign, but someone has systematically added noise to that image, and it looks like you should drive over 60, 80. So you're going to have an accident. So again, something which we need to be very, very aware of, how to prevent adversary from attacking the systems. Another aspect which we need to be very aware about in machine learning is that correlation is not causation. In this case, you see that the ice cream sales and sharp attacks seem to be very highly correlated. Does it mean that if ice cream sales increase, there will be more sharp attacks? Or because people are eating more ice cream, that is why they are. So some scientists would come with the logic that eating ice cream changes the neurobiology, which leads to you being more prone to sharp attacks. That is crazy, right? What the actual study was that ice cream sales and sharp attacks are both positively affected by the temperature. If it's warmer, you'll have people eating more ice creams and more people going to beaches where they end up being attacked by sharks. So again, when we study machine learning, it's often important to often disengage correlation and causation, not to see them both in the same ones. We finally come to the question that what exactly is machine learning? Anyone wants to give a try what exactly is machine learning? Now we've seen some applications. Could you come up with some keywords to define what is machine learning? There's no penalty for the wrong answer. Can you guess?
Just to see patterns and learn from data.
Okay. Okay, so Anubhav has very well summarized the Google video that we saw. Okay. Any other? That's correct, by the way. Any other keywords that you might want to use to specify machine learning? Generalization, okay. Prediction, okay. So if you're trying to predict or you're trying to generalize, how do you learn? What is the learning aspect of it? Where do you learn it from? So these are the natural questions. What is a machine? And how do you say you have learned? Right? You can pose some of these questions to enhance your understanding. And this is a very famous definition given by Arthur Samuel in 1959. Field of study that gives computers, which is the machine aspect of it, the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Now, all of you have written some specific programs, right? If you want to find the square root of a number, you want to cube a number, you want to find the age of a person given certain formula, that you're doing programming, right? You've done some simple programming. What this is saying is you're not explicitly programming to figure out the associations, the patterns, as Anubhav was saying. And a more formal definition of machine learning is that the learning aspect is you learn from experience E with respect to some class of tasks P and performance measure P. If the performance of task P as measured by P improves with experience E. So you have some experience, which is some data that you're using. You have some tasks at hand, and you have some performance measure to quantify how you've been able to learn. Right? Let's look at the example and now identify what is the task, performance measure, and experience. Yes. What is the task here? Predicting pneumonia, right? Okay, that is the task. What is the performance measure? So the performance measure is how accurately you're able to predict the right class. In this case, it's the positive or the negative percentage of the accuracy. What is the experience? Sorry? Right. So the input, the experience here is that you give thousands of such images to the system, and then so it will give thousands of pairs of image and the corresponding disease. So you'll have one image, pneumonia positive, you'll have another image, pneumonia negative. You'll have thousands of images where you have pairs of the input as well as the output of concern on which you measure the performance. That's machine learning for you. Right? That's a very simple definition. We'll dive into more technical definition in a while. Before we go into all of the technical details, I just want all of you to kindly note down the Google Classroom code. All of the public announcements will be made only via Google Classroom. So if you're not enrolled, you'll miss out on the announcements. You could also visit the class website. If you want, you can take a snapshot of the slide. All of the things will be put up only on this website. And Google Classroom will be used for all the engagement. Okay, so everyone noted down? Okay, so can you raise hands if this time works for you for an extra lecture? 10 a.m. 101, 11th Jan. So this is a lecture in lieu of an institute holiday on 15th Jan. And the very specific reason I want to have this done right away and not have the lecture compensated for later is because 15th Jan is the ad hoc period. So I want you to have enough exposure to the course to make a revision wisely. Does this date not work for anyone? Yes.
Can it be 11 a.m. because we have a class from 9 to 11?
Okay, 11 a.m. Does 11 a.m. work for everyone? Anyone for whom 11 a.m. does not work? Sorry? If it works for majority, I think we'll stick to it. Anyone else? If more than 2 people, 3 people, okay. Okay, so I will discuss with all of you later. All 3 of you can please meet me after the lecture. Now I'll quickly go over the course policy. So everything is mentioned on the course website. Can everyone see? So the course timings have been mentioned. The office hours are from 12 noon to 1. But again, if this timing does not work for a majority of you, we can again change it based on survey. I've already created a course calendar. Let me just show you that first. So this course calendar will give you a view of the different assignment deadlines, the dates on which the assignments will be released, and what are the different aspects of the course. And if you can see carefully, 8th is the next class. The first assignment will be released on the next class itself. The deadline of which will be on 15th, exactly a week from now. There are other aspects of this which we'll see later. But one thing which has been done very thoughtfully is to evenly space out all the assignments, quizzes, etc. And this is available to you upfront right now. I'll first walk over some of the prerequisites. So good experience in Python programming. Throughout this course, we'll stick with Python. If you have mastery of some of the language, you are requested to learn a bit of Python. We can have a session on Saturday evening or Sunday, one of those days, where the TAs will take some introductory Python programming specifically for the scientific data ecosystem. So those of you who are not well conversant in Python, you are most welcome, or you are requested to attend that particular set of lectures or lab session. Probability and linear algebra. I've kept a couple of resources which you can use to prepare for all of these prerequisites. None of them would be taught directly in the class, but they would be expected that you've already gone through some of this material. So the Python Data Science Handbook already talks about how to use NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, etc. for doing all of your coding. There is some material on linear algebra which tells you about matrices, differentiation, multivariable calculus, etc. And then there is a Khan Academy course on stats and probability which tells you about various probability rules, things like random variables, etc. If you don't go through some of this or majority of the prerequisites, you might have a hard time in the remainder of the course. There is no one single reference textbook. Don't get intimidated buy 7 textbooks. If you largely follow these slides and the recommended reading, you should be fine. Majority of the books are available freely online. Some of them are in the library. And if and when required, we'll figure out the required resources for you. So you don't have to worry about the same. So coming to the main thing now, the grading policy. There will be 3 main components in the course. The first one being the project, which will be 32%. The second being quizzes and end semester, which would be again 22%. And the third component would be the programming homework assignments, which would be 36%. In terms of the projects, we have already given some ideas from the teaching staff team. So you can see we have highlighted across 2 different themes. One being applications, the other being some tools. And each of them have a mentor assigned. And they have already defined the description of the projects that you can work on. You should not limit yourself to these projects. If you have better ideas, you can of course come up to the teaching staff and discuss them, and we can have the idea listed there, or we can directly assign you that specific project. I can also show you some projects from the last year's course. So I've linked this in this course website, and I've put it the poster, which is one of the last components for the project from the last year's course. So you can get a fair handle on what is the expectation and what is the level to which projects were done last year. Just to give you some thoughts about or some ideas about things. So if you look at this specific project, plant disease detection, while it was a course project, the presenters are presenting this today at COTSCOMAT, which is a very good data science conference in India. So this is just to give you an idea. If you do the project well, there could be a potential of publishing it also, in case you have some publishing goals. There are things like malware detection and monitoring, web application, plant species classification, where the team ended up collecting 22 GB worth data, which is a huge amount of data that they collected. So many of these systems will involve you to create, many of these projects will involve you creating the entire system and not just the machine learning approach. People created defenses for generative adversarial examples. So we saw some adversaries, right? There was a gibbon, then there was some systematic noise, and then there was a panda predicted as a gibbon. Can you come up with defenses for such kinds of attacks? One group worked on this. One group worked on something known as unsupervised cross image generation. People were trying to track your diet. This specific project ended up, if you can see, the thali is from the mess. That might look familiar to you. They looked at the plate which you get in the mess, and they were trying to estimate the calorie count. People were trying to do land cover classification using satellite imagery. So we saw a video where satellite imagery was used to predict the poverty of a region. They are trying to classify land, whether it is land, water, road, etc. There is a group which is trying to colorize images. You give them black and white images from 30, 40 years back, they're able to colorize the image. So imagine if machine learning was very sophisticated, the rework of movies like Mughal Azam would have been very easy. Music to note. So this was one of my very favorite kind of theme of project. Now you have music as a WAV file. We are able to now extract the notes out of it. There is another project which is fairly similar, where they're trying to, once you play an instrument in one, so let's say you play a specific set of notes in one instrument, the machine learning system is able to create the same notes in another instrument. So guitar to piano, piano to guitar, etc. Again, there will be some limitations to what can be done. People created an automated attendance system and person counter. For example, if there is a camera here, that can use computer vision to get who all are present and the number of people. Again, there will be some ethical issues related to all of these. Converting sound from instrument to instrument, object detection and counting is fairly similar. People were trying to estimate air quality. People were also ended up generating music using LSTMs, and the music did sound okay. So it wasn't the machine like the alien like sounds that you would expect. This was fairly human like sounds. People were also able to do some energy monitoring. People were able to predict what would be a response to a movie trailer. So this was just to give you a very quick glimpse of the kinds of projects that were done last year. The way the project grading has been done is done in a way that it is very continuous. You cannot do everything in the last minute and expect to get a good grade. But this is good for you if you are very consistent in the course. So the first deadline would be for the project would be Jan 20th, where you give a project proposal. You tell what the project should contain. And if you have questions about how long should the proposal be, what am I supposed to write in that? So we have created an FAQ which contains all of these answers. So for example, can you change the project later? This tells you that you can change, although not advised, but then you have to write the proposal, etc. again. And so this is one of the favorite questions, or one of the most important questions of an FAQ. What is the syllabus of the quiz? The answer is simple, that it will contain all the materials covered between the previous quiz and today, whenever the quiz will be held. And what could you expect in quiz? You could expect questions covering all the aspects of material covered in the lecture. There will be a mix of objective questions and some subjective proof-like questions. The end semester syllabus would be the entire course content. There is no mid-semester exam. There will be step marking in quizzes and exams, but the least count would be 0.5, so no haggling for 0.25 marks. The quizzes and end semester will not be open book. You are not permitted to carry notes. There is no notion of a cheat sheet, etc. The answer sheets should be given back to you in 4 to 5 working days. And if you have some doubts and assignments, I have to still fulfill this. How will we grade the project proposal? So we have now created the set of points on which your project proposals, on which your project phase 1 presentation, etc., everything will be graded. This should help you to create the proposals and the different aspects of the course. So for example, for the project proposal, it's about the writing quality, literature survey, timeline feasibility, and the proposed approach. In this case, the least count is 0.25 marks. There is a project phase 1. So the idea is 20th January, you propose a project. After that, you work for about 10-20 days. You present the first set of updates, that is worth 5%. And then again in March, about a month from the first update, you give another set of updates. And then you have a final set of updates. So phase 1, phase 2 presentation again has some elements on which we will grade, some aspects of which we will grade. Again, all very clearly defined in the course FAQ. In the final project, we have something known as a 3-minute madness. So you get only 3 minutes in which you have to tell everything about your project. The idea here is that you basically only end up motivating in the 3 minutes so that people come attend your poster and you give them a very high level overview of what's involved in the project. We have again linked to something known as 3MT, 3-minute thesis. The final project demo and poster would be worth 10%. And the final report will be due April 22nd, worth 4%. There will be 3 quizzes, 1 end semester. The first quiz I yet have to change this date. So these dates may not reflect the correct dates. We'll have to look at the course calendar. I'll anyway ensure that both of them are synchronized. We'll have 3 quizzes. These quizzes have been again evenly spaced out, and then there is an end semester exam. 6 programming homework assignments, the first of which will be released in the next lecture and with a deadline of 15. Each of them would be 6% marks, and you cannot expect this to be a light course. So the programming assignments would be very intensive in programming. and they would require you to implement many of the machine learning aspects of the class which we are studying in the theory. One of these programming assignments might be a Kaggle competition. So this is briefly the grading policy. There are other course FAQs. So there is something known as Google Cloud Credits, which we will be sharing with all of you so that you can work on the project using that. If you require things like GPU or advanced or a lot of CPU components. One thing which I want to clarify upfront is that we will not entertain questions like this. I think our group put in a lot of effort, but we got less marks than peers who put in lesser efforts. So we believe that the evaluation team will take their best. They'll try to do the best so that there is no bias which creeps in. And we have anyway given the roster. We've anyway given the specific points on which we will be graded. Hopefully, we'll be giving you feedback for each of the specific parts of the projects. I'll not cover the other aspects which are mentioned already in the FAQ. We will try to video record the lectures. Hopefully they'll come out okay, and I will try to post them at regular intervals. The site will anyway be made available time to time. Everything will be maintained on this course website. So with that, I end today's lecture. I take some doubts if you have about the course, specifically about the course logistics. The technical doubts we can handle. Yes. Any questions about the course? Majority of them would be anyway covered in the FAQs. So no one has a question on the size of the project team? That is already mentioned in the FAQ. Hopefully, otherwise I will. Those who are not available on 11 at 11 AM can please see me now.